I gave this pose to Derek to make it 5 poses to 1.
Hey guys, Ivan here, and in this video we got something fun. So Tyler Mannion, the vice president of the IFBB, finally made a video in which he basically explains how the judging went, why Derek Lunsford won, how he beat Hadi, why Andrew Jack placed third, and what happened between Martin Fitzwater and Nick Walker and the others. So let's get into it. We're gonna start by Tyler analyzing all these poses. Of course, it's a shorter version of it. If you want to watch the whole video, go to Tyler Mannion's Instagram account. There is a whole video there. It's a lengthy video, but if you want a short version with my reaction, here you go. Let's start. So, as Derek Lunsford won the show and Hadi was in a apparently very close second, we're gonna start with the top two and let's hear what Tyler has to say about these two guys. Let's see which poses were won by Derek, which by Hadi, how did Derek actually end up winning, and the first pose is gonna be front double biceps. So let's hear what the vice president of the IFBB and a judge at the Mr. Olympia has to say about this one. How did this go?
In the front double bicep, for Derek, obviously he has great taper, a nice small waist. His legs were definitely up in size. You see nice deep lines in the separation throughout his legs. Hadi is very, very conditioned. You go down to the lower body, but you see that the legs definitely do not have the same size as Derek's. Hadi also has a little bit less sweep on the right side than the left. Overall, the leg size just was not the same as Derek's. Bicep-wise and inner arm detail, he obviously has much better bicep peaks and more detail. When it comes to the arms, Hadi has the better arms. When it comes to the legs, Derek has the better legs. Throughout the upper body, I would say that Hadi was a little bit more conditioned with a little bit more detail overall as well. Because of the overall size, I gave this pose to Derek.
All right, interesting. So basically he says Derek mainly won because of his lower body. Derek, who is known for having terrible legs, literally his weakest point. Now he's beating Hadi because his legs are bigger. Also, Tyler says that Derek had better separation in the quads than Hadi. Hadi, who has completely shredded legs. What the hell? I mean, fine, let's take a look. Are Derek's legs that much bigger than Hadi's? It definitely doesn't look in this 4K video right here, in this screenshot. They look similar in size. But as far as the conditioning and the details in the quads, I think Hadi definitely has better details. Why I wouldn't have Hadi winning this one is because of the asymmetry in the legs. That right leg of Hadi is way smaller than the left one, and I just can't ignore it, personally. But Hadi does have better separation and details all over the upper body, legs as well. I don't see a huge difference in the leg size. I do see better separation, again, everywhere. What Derek basically has is more size, more of that wow factor. On that stage, he was freaking huge, and his physique is fresh. He doesn't have melting body parts like Hadi. So I agree with the decision to give this one to Derek, but as far as the explanation, how he got to this point, I don't know if I agree with Tyler. Let's go with the next pose, front lat spread.
Outer arms and shoulders and the chest, how it all flows on Derek compared to Hadi. I think Derek is better there, plus Derek's advantage in the legs. I gave this pose to Derek to make it 2 poses to 0.
Alright, as far as the front lat spread, of course, this was a very short version of what he says. He speaks for a couple of minutes about this one, but basically he sums it up by saying Derek is bigger and has more fullness and details throughout the chest, shoulders, arms area, and again, he's bigger and especially bigger in the legs. Do I see this? Well, again, I don't see a huge difference in the leg size. I do see a huge difference in the right leg of Hadi. The left one looks just as big, so yes, because of that and because of simply the size and the shape in the upper body, in the shoulders, chest, and arms, Hadi does seem a little bit flat in his upper body compared to Derek here. So yeah, because of the size, I do have Derek. And we're not even talking about Andrew Jack, but as you can see, he's winning a lot of these poses here, but that's a different topic. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's move on now to the side chest.
Derek's outer arms have a little bit more of that volume and roundness. Hadi has a little bit more of that peak to the bicep here throughout the chest to the back shoulder. I think Derek is wider. Derek's chest is thicker than Hadi's. You can see that chest flatness here. And even with the back pec that's pushed over, you can see Derek's is thicker than Hadi's as well. Hadi's legs are a little bit smaller than Derek's. So for me, again, because of where Derek beats Hadi in this pose, both the upper and the lower body for me, I thought this was a pretty clear pose to Derek to make it 3 poses to 0.
Okay, I have to agree with this one completely. Derek destroys everybody in this side chest right here. His legs are huge from the side. They also have great details, much bigger legs than Hadi's. Also his shoulders, his chest density, his triceps, biceps, everything is just super swole, super big, and the details are even there. So yeah, for sure, he wins this one, no doubt. I agree with Tyler on this one completely. Alright, now let's hear what Tyler has to say when these guys face the curtain.
Obviously, we know Derek has a very, very crazy back double bicep. I think this is a very clear pose for Derek.
Yeah, I don't think there is much to say about this one. There is no chance of anybody pretty much, except for Nick Walker, who is in condition and who is perfectly peaked. Anybody on the Mr. Olympia that can actually challenge Derek in the back double biceps, so further explanation is not needed. Yes, Derek wins this one easily. Let's go now to the other back pose, back lat spread.
The lower body difference, I think Derek has the advantage in the lower body here. However, when we move into the upper body, I think that Derek is not opening up every time that he hits this pose. So you can see the density and the thickness that Derek has to his back, but the back itself, he's not opening it up to display the width that obviously he has. Hadi, on the other hand, does a very, very good job of opening up his back all the way. So you see thickness and density in detail throughout his back. Also, his lats look wider than Derek's in this pose, but he has the disadvantage in the lower body. I ended up giving this pose to Hadi, definitely because of the width and how he opened up his back.
Alright, this is interesting. I did not expect this, to be honest. I mean, based on the video, yeah, I can agree with it, but basically, yeah, I wouldn't expect that Hadi would beat Derek in any of the back poses. But let's take a look at this. Lower body, not even close, guys. Derek kills Hadi in the lower body. With the glute conditioning and with the size of those legs, yeah, I can see right here how much bigger Derek's legs are now than Hadi. But you can see it from the back. From the front, I don't see it as much because Hadi has great quads. However, from the back, you can see his quads, so that illusion of having massive legs is not created. So from behind, you can see that Hadi's legs are definitely smaller. But yes, Derek definitely could have opened up more, maybe laid back a little bit more. Hadi is definitely doing a better job with opening up his lats and showing maximum width here and details too in that lower back. So sure, I can see an argument for Hadi winning this one because of the back mainly. Lower body goes to Derek, but yeah, the upper body difference, it's actually surprising that Hadi would look this much better than Derek in a back lat spread. But yeah, I agree. Hadi is winning this pose. Now let's move on to the side tricep.
The difference in the size of their legs, the density of their legs. So I think Derek has a lower body advantage here. Now when it comes to the upper body, again, I think that Derek's chest is a little bit thicker than Hadi's because of the lower body advantage and overall size and thickness and roundness. I gave this pose to Derek to make it 5 poses to 1.
Okay. At this point, Derek has 5 poses and Hadi only has 1. And it's a debatable one. It's the back lat spread. But as far as the side tricep, I have to say again, I agree. I'm sorry if you guys expected me to disagree more with Tyler, but I have to admit this guy knows what he's talking about. I actually agree with him on a lot of points. I don't agree with every judging decision, and I also feel like at this point Tyler Mann is probably a better judge than Steve Weinberger. I mean, the decisions I've seen Steve make as a head judge. I mean, Tyler, for example, had Nick Walker winning over Derek at Pittsburgh Pro, and that was definitely the right decision. So yeah, Tyler knows his business. I don't agree with everything completely, but with the most of the things, for sure. Now, as far as the side tricep, I mean, Hadi looks crazy aesthetic in the side tricep with those freaking abs and the shape of his chest and his legs as well. But it's the size, guys. The size. It's a huge difference here. Derek has crazy thickness in the side tricep. He looks freaking monstrous. He looks super massive. So yeah, because of that size discrepancy, I definitely agree with Tyler here on the side tricep. And we're not even looking at Andrew Jack, who looks like a freaking monster, but unfortunately, he didn't make that top 2. As far as Hadi versus Derek here, no doubt about it in my mind. Yes, Hadi has great abs and great aesthetics in this one, but it's not all about aesthetics in open bodybuilding. It's about the size, and Derek wins this one because of that. Let's move on to the abs and thighs now.
Overall, just the flow of the pose and the conditioning that gets brought out, especially through the midsection. I thought this was a clear pose for Hadi.
Yeah, I don't think there is much to add as far as the abs and thighs. The only thing that I would add is that Andrew Jack probably looks the best here, or at least second best. He beats both Derek and Samson in this one. I mean, he destroys Samson, but he beats Derek as well. I would say Derek improved this pose. His abs weren't this good last year. His conditioning from the front may not look great, but it's definitely overall a better pose with bigger legs and with better abs. I would say he trained his abs for sure, you can see that. But yeah, he can take Hadi out on this one. And this makes it 5-2-2. Only 2 poses for Hadi and 5 whole poses for Derek. And now let's hear what Tyler has to say about the last pose, most muscular.
The overall polish and flow of this pose, it's very hard to take it off Hadi, and I thought it was a clear pose for Hadi to make it 5 poses to 3.
So yeah, the most muscular was also another obvious pose. Hadi wins this one as well very easily, and that makes it 5-3 based on Tyler Mannion. This is how the judging went. Do I agree with it completely? Well, for the majority of the things, for sure. If you guys want to watch the whole thing again, go to Tyler Mannion's Instagram account and actually hear what he has to say about every single pose in depth. But basically, this is the summed up version, and you can hear what Tyler thinks. And, you know, overall, I gotta say, I agree with this. But Hadi's fans, Iranian fans, don't wanna hear it. And for that reason, Tyler made a comment in which he addressed his fans as well. So he says, Hadi's fans are only capable of seeing others' flaws and not Hadi's. I could care less the name or nationality of the person who wins. It's who fits the criteria best that day. At a Pittsburgh Pro, I had Derek losing to Nick, who took 6th here because he thought Nick was better that day. Let's look at the flaws. Derek doesn't have a good bicep peak or inner arm detail, needs more thickness and detail to the chest and front poses. His condition from the front doesn't match his condition from the back, from the side and the back. Hadi, legs from all angles looked small. Lost chest thickness and fullness, so chest looked flat even though it was striated in most muscular. Shoulders don't look great, conditioning from the back, and even side doesn't match his conditioning from the front. Oof, damn, he went hard at Hadi. He says, oh, and for Derek's front and Hadi's back, I wouldn't call either of them soft. Even the best guys in the world have plenty of flaws. This has rang true throughout the history, including the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. It just baffles me that one set of fans decides to overlook flaws of their guy because his chest and midsection has impressive conditioning. There's an argument for both guys to beat each other. If you look at their bodies without looking at their heads, and I'm rephrasing this because I don't want to lose monetization, and didn't know who was who, that's why the contest was so close. One thing I find weird here is that Tyler keeps stressing that it was so close, but he finds many more flaws on Hadi than on Derek. And basically Derek wins almost all of the poses. Hadi wins a couple, but barely. I don't know if he thinks it was really that close, or he's just saying this to make the fans happy. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below. Now let's move on to the next guy, the next pair, Andrew Jack and Samson Dauda. But Samson Dauda to Andrew Jack comparison is completely pointless because Andrew Jack destroys Samson in every single pose. Maybe it will be much closer between Samson and Martin. We didn't get to see that, but let's hear what Tyler has to say about Andrew and then also about Samson.
I think he is on the right track where if they can bring this kind of polish and conditioning and add a little bit of tissue in the right places, the sky is the limit for this guy, and I'm super excited to see what happens in 2026 with him. He sacrificed a lot of his size, and especially in his back and in his legs. Yeah, really for him, I just think they tried to bring the condition and lost the muscle, and that explains why he ended up in 4th here. He just didn't have enough next to all 3 of the guys ahead of him in too many of the poses.
Okay, I thought that was pretty clear. Samson was just simply downsized, not based on his opinion. He thinks he was just flat, but everybody else sees that he was just downsized, he lost muscle, he burned muscle away. And as far as Andrew Jack, for sure, sky is the limit. I could have seen Andrew even cracking the top 2 or even winning the Mr. Olympia, but not this year, not this year. He needs to pack on some more size, especially in those hamstrings and to improve his side poses. But yeah, very, very good package from Andrew Jack. And of course, Tyler sees it that way, and he also sees that Samson has actually, in fact, lost muscle. We'll see how Samson will fix that and what Andrew Jack will bring next year at a Mr. Olympia or at the Arnold Classic. But now let's move on to the second call out, and let's take a look at what Tyler says about Martin Fitzwater and Nick Walker.
Martin made sure he came in very, very conditioned at this show. While doing this, I think he lost just a touch too much of his size.
Okay, I thought this was also very interesting. Apparently, Martin lost a lot of size, just like Samson. I haven't even noticed this, but if that's true, then yeah, I guess that explains why Samson wasn't compared to Martin. Personally, I just thought Martin looks like this when he's next to Nick. I didn't notice that he was downsized, that he was smaller, but that's what Tyler says, and he sees these guys in person very often, so he knows better than me. And I don't know if you guys noticed this. Tell me down below. Now let's hear what Tyler actually has to say about Nick Walker. This is an interesting one.
Next up in 6, we had Nick. I think Nick's condition, this condition wasn't really bad, but he just wasn't really on. And when I say on, like everything was a little bit flat for him. He didn't really have the greatest pop to his physique. I think the main issue for Nick was his waist just appeared very wide, I would say, on stage. He did a better job of keeping his midsection controlled for sure, but the waist just seemed very wide in a lot of the poses, especially when you're looking at him from the front double and the front lat spread. Even the ab and thigh, just he has deep abs and deeply separated abs, but the waist just looked really thick. And even when he was doing his most muscular, which is still a very strong pose, you can see that that waistline just wasn't coming in as much as it has in the past. Even as recently as Pittsburgh, I thought that waistline was definitely tighter. Because the midsection got wider, I don't know if the legs, especially from the front, the quads actually went down, or I think it's just the illusion of the waist being a little bit wider. So that's what happened there with Nick.
Okay, interesting. He's also saying that Nick was actually in good condition, that he wasn't off with condition. I guess he agrees with what Kyle Wilkes and Nick Walker are saying, that he was basically just not peaked well. And that's it. Did I see it that way? You guys know that I didn't. I agree with everything else Tyler says. That his waist was huge, and his legs seemed smaller. But how a guy goes from winning, basically beating the Mr. Olympia a couple of months earlier at a Pittsburgh Pro, based on Tyler Mannion, Nick beat Derek at Pittsburgh Pro, and now he comes in flatter, based on Tyler, and places 6th. Some people actually have him lower than that, and I can see an argument for Nick placing even as low as 7th. He had no chance to stand next to the top 4 guys, let alone to beat Derek Lunsford. And Derek was potentially better at Pittsburgh than he was here. He was bigger here, but at Pittsburgh he was more polished, more conditioned. So, I don't know, guys, I can't really agree with that. I still think that Nick was not in shape, and that's why his midsection was so much bigger, his waist was so much wider, and he didn't have that wow look, that wow factor, freak factor he has when he's completely shredded. But yeah, based on Tyler, he was just flat, and for some reason, his waist was wider. Even though he was 10 pounds heavier, his conditioning was good. Not the way I see it, I disagree with that, but as far as the rest of the video, I pretty much agree with almost everything. You guys heard what Tyler had to say and my take on it. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for more content like this, and tell me your thoughts on Tyler's assessment of this show and his decisions as the judge. Again, guys, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. All the best, and bye-bye.